For the last few weeks, we've been talking about people pleasing and how it typically has its roots in childhood. Something happened to us that caused us to believe we had to put other people first. Or maybe what happened was that we were taught to put other people first, but we're never taught how to balance that with being good to ourselves, which that's a sneaky way of teaching us to put ourselves last. So it's no mystery that some of us came to believe that we had to please other people to stay safe, to be loved, to belong. So we've been talking about how people pleasing affects the relationships and circumstances we're in now. There have been lots of posts on Instagram and Facebook that gave clues to help us find those childhood roots. A lot of those started with, if you grew up in a home where this or that was true or happened to you, you may have become an adult who, and those have dealt with all sorts of people pleasing and perfectionism and holding ourselves back. But a lot of times we don't connect those dots for ourselves. This is just the way things were. And we were too busy coping to think about how this got connected or the long-term impact. Or maybe we actually grew up in a really good family, in a good home. And so we came to believe that the problem must be us. Yeah. All of that is part of the people-pleasing puzzle. But there's another part. Today, we're going to just flip that perspective and look at people-pleasing pre-relationship. Now, if you could look ahead and see which relationships were likely to result in a people-pleasing dynamic, you could avoid them in the first place or extricate yourself quickly before it became too late. Now, one simple tool, and it's the one we're going to talk about today, but it's a question, just a question that most of us don't know to ask. Or even if we do, we really don't know what to do with the information we get from asking the question. So to set the stage, let's begin with this question. What do you really want? Have you given that any thought? Well, of course you have. We all have. But for a lot of us, our wish list is more superficial than we realize. Now, I say superficial because we don't often let ourselves go deep into what we really want and why we want it and what it represents to us. I'm going to use an example from my own life, and that would be my quest for the perfect house. Now, I love architecture, I love interior design, I love getting to live in new places, and yet none of them satisfied for very long. Because you see, what I was really searching for was the feeling of home. Home. And that had to start from within me. As much as I've loved most of the houses I've lived in, they were at best a superficial representation of my deepest desire. And I had been using decor and location to try to create home when what I really needed was to create the feeling of being at home in my own life, then letting that inspire the house and the place. Now, excuse me, part of the culprit is that conventional wisdom tells us to decide what we want in detail. Visualize it in detail. Change your thoughts. Write down and speak affirmation. Change your thoughts, change your life. Notice something. That is all cerebral. And we are not just a brain. We're not just a brain. So let's say that what you want to stop is the people pleasing. Okay? So you visualize what that would look like, how your life would be, And you practice catching your thoughts when they, stray over into people pleasing. And you have tons of affirmations about who you would be and how your life would be. And you've got sticky notes on the mirror and on the refrigerator and reminders everywhere. And then nothing really happens. Or maybe a little bit happens for a little while. And then it stagnates and backslides. And if you're anything like me, that's a really good place to just beat yourself up. Yeah, how come everybody else can do this and I can't? Please tell me I'm not alone on that. There is a lot of psychology and physiology we can explore with that, and we will, but today we're going to focus on one question, just one. And we've already identified that typical first question, what do you want? And that's a great place to start. But if we stop there, we're likely to end up frustrated and unfulfilled for a very long time. The magic is actually in the second question, the missing question. You ready? What does this relationship want from me? And here's why that's important. And oh, by the way, if your first thought was, oh, that sounds transactional, just stay with me, because that thought, that mindset may have been preventing you from doing one of the most important and freeing things you can do for yourself. So stay with me. Now, a former client has actually given me permission to use her story as an example. Now, her story is about looking for romance, which can certainly be very prone to leading into people pleasing. But before I tell you her story, I want you to know that the underlying principles apply to all relationships and to any goal. Not just relationships. But these underlying principles are that fundamental. So here's Darlene's story. Darlene wanted to find love. She'd been divorced for a while, her children were grown, and she felt like the time was right. Now was her time. So she described her ideal mate. He was nice looking and fit. He was financially and physically healthy. He loved music, especially 60s classic rock. Yet he was really curious about a lot of things. He wasn't stagnant, and he was eager to explore and travel. I mean, in other words, she was crystal clear about him. Okay? She had what she wanted nailed. But as she asked herself the second question, the missing question, and tried to describe what a man like that would want for himself, she got more and more frustrated. She was getting a little bit angry and even tearful. And after a while, she threw down her pen. He's not looking for me. I dream of doing all those things, but the truth is, I'm a couch potato who only dreams. I'm overweight. I'm out of shape. My finances are a mess. And, I always thought I'd be motivated to do something about it when I met someone who was already all the things I want. Okay, so I asked, so what might it look like? Let's go next. Let's go further. What might it look like if the two of you were to get together? She was quiet for a really, really long time. And then she said, if we did get together, he probably would have taken me on as a fixer-upper. And I don't want to be anyone's project. And I would feel like I was getting graded and I had to please him. Or maybe I'd put him on a pedestal and always doubt that someone like him could love someone like me. So I'd always be trying to earn his love. So let's pause right there. Can you see how people pleasing would almost inevitably grow out of that pairing. So let's go back. Let's go back to Darlene. She's described her ideal man. She has explored what he would want for himself, and she's realized she's not a match. She can now see how getting this wish as it stands could end up becoming more entrenched in people pleasing, or entrenched in people pleasing if she's not there already. At that point, though, she actually has two options. Two. The first one is to change what she wants to better match who she is. That's it. The second is to heal and grow herself to become a better match for what she wants. And here's the most important thing. There is not a wrong answer. Either of those options will ultimately lead her to more self-knowledge and more harmonious relationships. Discovering the mismatch is the tremendous opportunity for your own self-awareness and healing. Now, Darlene can rethink what she wants and why she wants it. I mean, why does she want someone who's so different from her, from who she is now? Is she looking to fill the gaps in herself without doing her own work? Does she think that, being chosen by someone, having someone like this is going to boost her self-esteem or maybe make her look good? Did she think that no one like him could possibly want someone like her? So there's like a thrill of being chosen. But now she's realizing that if she really believes that thrill is probably going to wear off. Then what? Or here's another one. Was she deliberately but subconsciously aiming for something unattainable? I mean, what if she ends up resenting that he's better than her and tries to bring him to her level instead of inspiring her to rise to his? I mean, come on, the resentment there. There are so many minefields here, because where there is a mismatch, it is almost guaranteed that you're going to end up trying to overplease someone or something, and then end up beating yourself up. But do you see the potent self-exploration that can come out of allowing yourself to discover that mismatch? And do you see how asking this second question, this missing question, can lead you towards what you really want and away from those attractive approximations? Attractive approximations. Yeah. So now let's go even bigger or deeper. This missing question applies to all relationships and all goals, not just romance. So let's say if you meet someone and you're considering friendship with them, ask the second question. Ask it. Ask it openly and without prejudgment, without self-deprecation. Just ask it and allow it to respond. Ask the question and let the question speak to you. Okay? The information from that question, let it speak to you. If your goal is better health, ask what better health wants from you. And I can tell you the answer is not fad diets. The answer is getting to the bottom of what you really want and why you want it, so you can see where the mismatch has been. Or maybe if there really is a mismatch, or you've been caught up in this culture of, let's see, you have to be thin, you can't get older, whatever. Is there really a mismatch? And if there is, where has it been? Where is it? Same thing goes for healthier finances. What does a healthy financial situation want from you? And the answer is not to cut back and cut back and cut back and do without forever. You can't get healthy that way, and neither can your finances. Asking yourself this second question, this missing question, is going to help you head off a multitude of relationships and circumstances where you end up feeling like a slave to pleasing someone or something else. You never get to feel wholly and fully yourself that way. So here's your homework. Begin cultivating the habit of asking yourself this second question, this missing question, and allowing yourself to explore what you discover openly, without judgment. This is how you can avoid people-pleasing pre-relationship and hone in on your true desires and how to turn those true desires into your reality. So go get started. Bye for now.